Welcome to EFTM, Trev along. Today, taking a look at the second generation of the first true folding smartphone, the Huawei Mate Xs. Now this is a tough one, I've got to be honest, because straight off the bat it's a $3,999 smartphone. That's a lot of money. Okay, so it's a $3,999 tablet. That's also a lot of money. Okay, so it's both things together. That's where it starts to make sense. You know, you're buying a $1,000 tablet and a $2,000 smartphone perhaps. Maybe. This is beautiful. It's as good as the very first day I saw it in Barcelona a long time ago now. Huawei announced the first Mate X just days after Samsung announced their Galaxy Fold. And I think the key thing here is they blew everyone away. We were all looking at this going, wow, that's just everything better than what Samsung had shown thus far. And we got a chance to look at it, touch it, feel it, and see that it was a solid device, something we didn't get to do with Samsung. However, never really came to market. I think they sold some in China maybe, or maybe Korea, I don't know, but they certainly didn't sell them in Australia, and now they are at $3,999. Do you want a folding smartphone? Because that's how much it's going to cost. Look, a first look at this is it's a big screen to body ratio. You get a lot for your buck in terms of what you're seeing on the screen, and then there's nothing on the other side. As soon as you pop open and there's a little pop button and you bring it out, you get the full screen. Very innovative, very cool, and it works seamlessly. You get the expansion of the apps. Your email goes from a column to a column and preview view. A lot of great things happen when you flick from smartphone mode to tablet mode. And of course, the other amazing and I think brilliant feature of this is there is just the one camera array. Now that camera array acts as your front-facing camera and your selfie camera, because you can be here in camera mode, taking a photo of what's over here using that camera. But you can also flick it around, and that asks you then to turn the camera around and you can take a selfie. Now, that's good because you're getting a full screen view of what's happening in the selfie mode. Useful? Yes. $4,000? Probably not. And of course you can use the camera in full tablet mode as well. Looking outwards, framing your photo using this huge screen. I'm not a fan of people taking photos with tablets at the best of times, but maybe I'll let you off just this once here. Look, it does what it says on the box. It's a smartphone. It folds open. It's a tablet. And I would say in every one of those tick boxes, it's better than the Samsung Galaxy Fold. It's a better tablet because there's no notch. It's a better smartphone because it's a huge screen, not that tiny little thing on the Galaxy Fold. But it's a screen on the outside which makes me very nervous. And I've put on the included little guide around the outside. It's like a case, but it's not. It's this kind of small, and it sticks on, so it's actually hard to take off. But it's this small additional barrier that goes around the whole thing. And what it does is gives bump protection to the edges, and it also elevates the screen off a table. So you're not actually rubbing against things because there is a bit of an elevation around the outside. The problem is the screen is still massively exposed. So in your pocket, when you're done, you put it away, whether it's your top pocket or your jeans pocket, it's getting bumped against things. And I've got to say, scratch is real easy. It really does scratch quite easily, and that worries me about how the longevity of the screen is truly going to be. Fingerprint sensor on the side is the power button, works beautifully, unlocks amazingly. Huawei do great fingerprint sensors, they do great screens, they do great cameras. And they've done a great thing with this folding device. And it feels to me like, kind of like the Samsung, something I'd want to own. I want to have one, but I can't see myself using one for a very long time. It's a great gimmick, but it's heavy, it's thick, it's cumbersome. So I don't, like when you're talking about Apple releasing an iPhone SE, when you talk about comparing this to existing smartphones, even like Huawei's own P40, it's a thicker, bigger device. And I don't know, unless you're coming from a Samsung Note and you're really looking for something even bigger, that's the only market I see for this. And the biggest challenge Huawei have, and there's no point hiding around the elephant in the room, you can only buy this from Huawei. You won't find this in any telco because the telcos without Google services, don't want a bar of it. So you're going to have to buy this direct. You're going to spend $4,000 and you have to live with the Huawei app gallery. There is no Google Play Store. Now, that's not a bad thing overall. I should be very clear. There are a lot of apps and a lot of apps you're familiar with. I'm able to download Facebook. I'm able to download WhatsApp. And it's very smart the way they've done it. In the app gallery, you can actually search for things. And if they know where the download link is to that file, that APK file that you can download into Android, it'll send you a link to that and you can download it directly. It's very smart. But any app that requires Google Play services will fail. And I've had that with apps that I can download, but to really activate them, to have the online services, they require Google Play authentication, and that fails because there is no Google Play services built in. There are apps, of course, you can't get as well, but there is a great way to clone your old phone. So if you've got an Android phone existing, you can set this one up as a phone clone and it will carry those apps across. But again, in some cases, like I've got Google Analytics here, so Facebook works fine. I've got Google Analytics here. You'd think, well, hang on, how did I get a Google app? I just phone cloned that across. But as soon as I try and use it, Analytics needs Play services to run. So I'm unable to do it because the app is there, but it can't do its back-end things. So there's a lot of limitations you're putting on yourself. And while you might say that using the standard email app here is fantastic because I've got this great list view and preview, and it's a fantastic way to use email, by the way. You go from having just your list view here and you open it up and you end up with your list and preview. I love it. It's fantastic. But I would prefer to have the Gmail app because I want to archive things. I want to label things, and those things can't be done with Huawei's mail program. There's a lot of things you're compromising on, but it works. So it's a very fine balance. If you're the kind of person that's going to spend $4,000, you've got to be very confident that you don't need Google Play services because you can't get them. And while there's plenty of apps you can run and plenty of apps you can find, and Huawei even have an app gallery that's suggestions. So you can say, oh, I want this app, and they'll track it down. They're working hard to make it work for you, but there's limitations. There's no doubt, and you can't get away from that. The screen, I worry about. I've only had it for 2 weeks and I can see scratches here more noticeable than scratches on an iPhone I've had for 6 months. That worries me greatly because it's essentially a plastic screen. I can see how easy it scratches itself. But maybe care and responsibility is required when you're spending $4,000 on a phone. Regardless, I couldn't buy one myself. I'd love to have one to sit in the shelves maybe on display for years to come, to show a device that innovated and changed the way that I think smartphones will be, because I think folding screens are the future of smartphones, but this isn't it. It's a beautiful device. If you watch a lot of content, then there's a lot of content to watch on this. If you can get Netflix and everything working, which is possible, you've just got to play around a bit. And for a lot of people, just having to play around to get things working is going to be too much of a hassle. At $4,000, it's massively overpriced. At $4,000, it absolutely shows the innovation required to make this kind of device, but it's not for me. If it's for you, go for it. Let me know in the comments what you think of the Huawei Mate Xs and whether you'd even come close to paying $3,999. Full details, full review at EFTM.com.